Yo, what's up everyone and welcome back to Garry Bettman Investments. In today's video we're going to look at why Bitcoin can go to $30,000. Now before we do that, let's take another quick look at our wavetrend oscillator. I made a video of this quite a few weeks ago, but if you don't know where to find it, you got to go to the indicators tab and then type in wavetrend. It's not showing up. Okay, wavetrend with crosses, the first one here by Lazy Bear. Once you got that installed or put in the chart, you can see down here we have a green dot, bullish rejection candle, doji candle if you want to say here. And then after that price moved up. Now let's take a look at the last cycles here. Start off with the 2015 one quickly. What did price do here? Price broke this descending triangle to the downside, right? Consolidated a bit. Then came down and we got our green dot right here. Then eventually price consolidated more and eventually shot up. Important to note, price never came back to test these lows here. Just consolidated and moved up again. And the green dot was in oversold territory. Next cycle. Same thing. Broke support. Aggressive move down. Consolidated. Got the green dot. And then eventually broke this trend line resistance here and then went up to the upside. Now do I expect the same thing to happen here? Possibly. I mean, ideally something like this would make sense. Either we go straight to 29.5K or we come back into the 17.5K demand zone that is held very well. We create a double bottom. We create a double bottom here. And then price shoots up. That's what I'm looking at in the long term. In the short term right now, price is just consolidating. I don't know if you can call this I'm going to call it a bull flag for right now. Right now it's making a lower high. Still holding this support that goes all the way back to here. Could see price fall back down to this demand zone at 21.9 and still hold the flag. So come down here, hit there, and then eventually move and break out. But the main thing I want to show is why Bitcoin can go to 30K. Just showing basic price action and supply and demand. So we're going to start over here, just looking at this demand zone right here that we saw last year, start of 2021. Big aggressive move up, consolidation followed by a move back down. Now look what happened here. Price came back into the zone. It's a fresh zone. Broke this resistance here. Came down, double bottomed. This would have been your buy signal candle here. And you would have taken this long all the way up. Now let's look on the short side of things. Price had a supply zone here. Broke this structure or this support. Came down. And look what happened. Eventually came back to fill those orders, those sell orders, and then eventually pushed back down again. Now, why did price not hold this demand zone here? Well, these orders here were already starting to get filled, and every time it comes back into the zone, specifically this demand zone, more orders get filled. So every time it comes back in, there's less orders to get filled. So eventually, when it comes here, there's no more orders, or very few, and it just blows right past it. Now, if you look at the Fibonacci's, take it from swing high to at the time would have been swing low, right there. You see that it only came to the point 0.382. Not really the fib level I usually look for. I usually look for the 0.5 and 0.6, but in this case, that's where it rejected. Now we take it from this swing high to this swing low. And what do we see? It lines up perfectly at the 0.382, which is at 29.3, 29.4, right at our supply zone. So if price was able to create supply here and come back into it, fill those orders, why can't price do the same thing again, come back down or come back up to 29.4 to 32.4, fill those orders, and then eventually come back down? Got a strong supply zone, strong aggressive move, broke this structure here, and sold off. And now we're seeing Bitcoin start to break out again. Not to mention, this was seen as support that is now resistance. And the other thing I want to mention is, why does this classify as a demand zone here? Well, look at where my zone is here. Basing candle, this pin bar hammer candle with an aggressive move up. Strong rally up for almost a 20K move in 4 weeks. We're holding it perfectly here. And price can move up again. Not to mention, that supply zone is right near where the trend line rejection is. Now let's say that this doesn't happen. What am I looking out for? Well, I got a bunch of daily demand zones right below it. 17.1, 16.1, 13.7. Those are all daily demand zones before we get to this major monthly demand zone at 11.5 to 9.8 that everyone's been calling for. And if you look at the monthly here, you can see, actually this should be up a little bit more here, clear, aggressive demand zone. But until 17.5K breaks, that's not the main focus right now. I had a post a few days ago saying that your main focus should be 19.5 to 17.5, and this major zone 28.5, or 28 to 33. Those should be your focuses right now. Now what will be interesting is if we break this trend line, break the supply zone, come back, retest it. Now we're looking up here to 46. 46K is our next area of interest. Now let's take a look at ETH quickly, because I'm noticing something similar compared to last cycle. So obviously here we had support, held up pretty nicely, bounced off a little bit here, then eventually broke down to the downside, and eventually came back up and retested that, creating a pretty long, or pretty extended double bottom before moving up. Let me get rid of these here. ETH could do pretty much the same thing now. Support here, support, rejected. Still saying 1700 is still the main zone. Could come up into the supply zone at 18 to 2000, come back down, create a double bottom, and then eventually move up. But 1700 is still the main area that I'm looking at. We'll see what happens this week. I mean, FOMC's on Tuesday and Wednesday. Major earnings for key weighted equities such as Microsoft and, well, I don't know the other ones, but I know Microsoft has earnings next week. So depending on if they beat or not, it's going to affect the NASDAQ, which will affect which way the cryptos go. But same thing with Bitcoin. Got that green dot down there signifying a bottom signal. And more of an aggressive candle, a nice hammer candle compared to Bitcoin. But yeah, that's all I got today. 30K is still possible in my opinion. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.